Hey guys, welcome back to this live stream. Today it's gonna be could be a quiet day, but I don't expect to take many or any trades. And the reason for this is just basically because of its NFP week. And let's run through the chart quickly to just show you guys what I see, and then let's see what happens when the market opens. I believe there's going to be some news, but let's have a look. All right, so this is my 4-hour chart right now, and as you can see, I've marked out this fair value gap down below with some equal lows here. There's equal lows that was taken here. It formed new equal lows. So I do believe that at some point we might try to come down here. As you can see, market is pretty much consolidating. Just ran this little spike up here. We formed a new fair value gap, and the reason I marked these two out to show you guys why my my bias is still bullish, and it's because of this fair value gap. I want to see price close below it in order to target these lower levels. But at this point, for as long as we stay within this fair value gap or bouncing around within here, I'm expecting price to go higher. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that's where we are right now. And obviously, this is not trading advice in any shape or form, and just for educational purposes and to obviously show you guys what I see. There's obviously some fair value gaps right over here with fairly equal highs. One can say that little spike took liquidity. I don't know if that's enough. We could see price coming back here, run it, and maybe we can see this on non-farm on Friday, when price could consolidate here, run here, and spike through this to take out this liquidity and potentially create a new equal high here, and then drop to go down here in order to go higher. So that's just what I see right now, and I'm going to pop down to a lower time frame, and then we see what happened when the market opens. So let's have a look here. This is the 1 hour consolidation, push up, running that high, shift down. We could see this test it to go lower, and if I want to go lower here, I mean, this is only for scalps on an hourly, that's what it shows. Let me just see something on the 4 hours here. All right, so everybody who knows the way I trade, there's a very specific pattern that I look for when I trade, and I want to show you guys the pattern is actually presenting itself very nicely. Just want to get my mic fine here. So we've got this high which printed liquidity, then we've got this white candle push up, the third candle push up as well, running that liquidity, then we've got this big black candle shifts down. Now this formation tells me if we close, we've got 40 minutes left. If we close like this at on top of the hour and get some sort of test back to that blue line that we've marked out in the 1 hour, I can expect price to go lower. But this formation must close below this white. Let me just get this out of the way. So this white candle here, if we close below this white candle's open, then to me that's bullish, running a liquidity out of a fair value gap. This is telling me price most likely going to go lower, and if we close like this, the probability for price to run back and test something here and target that low and potentially go into here is extremely high. But we got to see what's happening in the next 40 minutes. So I'm not doing anything till then, and I just want to see what the news looked like, today. Let's have a quiz. Okay. Today, okay, so we've got some PMI in about 20 minutes. Then we've got the non-manufacturers PMI on the hour. It's going to be 10 o'clock. And then there's a bunch of news in between. And then crude oil inventories as is not at 10:30. So let's just, let's not try to be over eager here. And let's see what's happened. I've given you guys the outlook for me, and what I'm going to do now is we're just going to have to sit and wait. Alright, I saw something pop up here somewhere. Okay. Alrighty, let's just give it some time. Okay, now we can see we push. I would not be eager in any ways if we close like this to jump into this trade to go short. This thing can go down, I know that. But if we get a big candle like that, I would like to see some sort of retracement first. But bear in mind, I'm bullish. So you don't have to be can't be too eager just to jump in there. Let's see what happens here. See, here we can see our pattern again. I just want to show you guys why this is such a powerful pattern. Got this fair value gap here. Equal lows, missed, runs up, forms our pattern, and then it's a spike down, but there's a pullback, and that's where you want to go down to a lower time frame and try to find your entry, and then the down move. So that was a nice entry, and remember, the one thing we tried to take here is obviously a 2-to-1. Okay, so there's your 2-to-1. You would have gotten it even before everything opened and did all its things. So that's fine. Even up here there was no entry, as much as people would like to say there's an entry here, but we wouldn't have taken that entry because this line up here was the liquidity. We wanted to see liquidity run first, and then like this there's a consolidation, manipulation, shift down, and then you look for some sort of entry there. And we can go down to 1 minute to actually see if there was something there. So that's where it went. Entry would have been probably here, but there's no entry, so it's fine. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just mute myself for 5 minutes, and let's see what presents itself here. Okay, let's have a look at this. Okay, there we can see a big pullback, and that is something I would watch, and obviously not take any entries. And that's the problem. If you had entered at the bottom, I mean, here you can see, because this is open, I mean, we might get some sort of short to go down again, but I mean, we're not going to take it because we are bullish on the higher time frame. There's no reason why we should screw around on anything in the wrong direction. I'm also not saying jump on the buy here. I'm saying we got to wait for the market to settle before we can actually do anything. So let's just sit and watch and see. There's some news coming out in 15 minutes again, and then again in 15 minutes after that. So let's see. I think the other thing we also need to keep in mind here is 4th of July holiday tomorrow. So with that said, I mean, anything can happen. Obviously, we're not going to trade tomorrow, but we could potentially see some big move today and nothing obviously tomorrow, or not much today, not much tomorrow, and then come Friday, a massive move to, to obviously incorporate all the moves that should have happened in the last 2 days. So that's why this week is obviously not the best week to trade, and that's why if you obviously got to stick to your demo accounts, and if there's nothing, there's nothing, and no need to rush into anything. So be patient, and what you do on these days, you just learn, and see how the market moves and market out, keeping in mind what's going to happen, and just get some chart time in. And you know, if you really want to do anything, take a demo account, but don't just go willy-nilly about it. Try and look for real opportunities and get better with every time you press the buy or sell button. Okay, so let's see, we've still got time here. Okay, this normally you get your white candle up, taking those liquidities. If this thing goes and closes below here, there's pretty much a good chance that this will run lower. But yeah, let's see. If this black candle was closed below this swing point here, and then we see this, and then this candle comes down and closed below it, that would have been a nice breaker. And then whenever price goes back into the black candle, that's where you would sell to go lower. But again, guys, we've got this big fair value gap in our way. If anything, this thing can trade into it in this first half of it up to the dotted line, but that's obviously a risky trade. Or it can run right through it, and then we can get some sort of consolidation, Friday manipulation, and then a drop down to those lows on the H4 4-hourly chart. So those are the scenarios. I'm not here to predict the future because I've seen firsthand trying to do it in the past. It's just not working for me. So I'm just playing out scenarios that I could see, and if it doesn't form, then obviously then it's not a valid, then it's not something valid. This is not a breaker because we're not taking that out. So that's that's gone. So we don't have to think about it. We haven't closed below this yet. We've got 3 minutes left. So don't worry. This thing can come down and touch it as a order block and then run higher. I don't know what it's going to do. So yeah, and remember on the 4-hourly we want to see this close below this blue line, and but it would be nice to see some sort of solid candle, not this wick that takes out these lows in a fair value gap, because this thing can then easily turn around and run higher to this high over here, or to go, and I've seen so many times where it will go there but print equal highs and then come down again. So let's just see what it wants to do. And then I want to show you guys something else now. With that in mind, to print those equal highs, and maybe what I should do is just mark it out so you guys can see. Okay, so there we have it. If this white candle closes above this black candle's open, because these black candles, consolidation in a bullish market, black candles swing point low, close above there, then there's a very good chance that we might run up here. But there's 20 minutes left for this. And if this presents itself, I'm more likely inclined to go higher. So those are the two things. We got to see what's happening. Let me see. And that will make more sense to come down here. I don't know if this is actually like a inversion or divergence, sorry, divergence. So everything's going to tell us what the market's likely to do in the next 20 minutes. There's news in 5 minutes. That could come down here, form some sort of, I don't know. Let me rather not say anything. I'm taking this out. Let's do this. Let's write this down because I think this is a more favorable. Say target and then I want to go down here and then I want to say if we close. No, I'm actually not gonna, because that is not where, that's against the bias. So we don't want to do that. Let's focus on this. And let's, for my journaling, I'm taking pictures. Hopefully price don't run away from us. But then you got this up close, down close. If you run up, we can see a test because that becomes a breaker. Okay, let's keep an eye and see how it unfolds. Okay, so we've got what is news now. We've got 15 minutes left to this candle close. So obviously it's going to be important for us to see how this candle close. Just to run through it again, looking at a 4-hourly, we did, obviously the pattern I'm looking for is those 3 up candles running in liquidity and then a black candle closing below the middles open. And then normally there's a high probability for the next candles to run lower. But in this case, we've got this massive fair value gap here that's obviously suggesting prices to go higher. And obviously if we close below this, that will invert, and that will obviously change my bias to a more bearish view, to then go after these equal lows and some other liquidity down here. But because we are bullish, there's no reason for us to, try to marry any direction that you think it's going to go to. I've seen this, and most probably on the hourly we're going to set up for a bullish move to run higher, and most probably with this high over here, set up some equal highs before we do anything if we want to go down. Or we can just obviously run up and never stop. But let's go back to our hourly and see what's doing. Alright, so then just getting back to this. Again, the pattern is, in this case, a bullish pattern for me is those 3 candles forming that swing point. Where you would see 3 black candles, the second or the last black candle is forming the swing point, and then the third candle to validate the swing to do not take out that low but close above the open of that middle black candle. And then again, the probability for the next candles to close higher is much higher probability. And in this context we've got here, we're bullish from this fair value gap. That obviously makes sense to me. And then the only target I've got right now is obviously going to be this immediate swing point here, or the ultimate highs over there. Beyond that, obviously there's new territory. Don't know what to expect there. So there's 2 ways to enter here. If I would look to enter is if this candle closes, just to enter on the close. Or I would take some of my position there and then obviously wait for price to trade back into this black candle on the next opening candle, and then try to get some sort of better price there. But this is on a 1 hour. I normally enter my trades down at the 5 minutes or the 1 minute. And like I said, on the 5 minute side of things here, we saw this breakdown. I don't know if this is divergence, but there's no breaker here, and maybe to this black candle, this little fair value gap, I could mark it out, but I don't know if we're going to get there now. And I just want to go back to the 1 hour to show you guys one more thing here. Here we can see this big white candle took out these highs, and then this black moved down, taking all these lows out. If we close above this white candle, this becomes a breaker, and price could possibly go back, test it, and that's where you hunt for more longs to take price higher. But again, we need to see how it all closes, and there you can see we start picking up, but we still got 10 minutes left here. It would have been nice to see price come in here, then this block here, when price then trades back in here, you could have, that could be a nice buy entries as well. But obviously didn't do that now, so we'll just have to keep an eye. I don't know if I want to look at anything on the 1 minute right now. Nothing that stands out right now for me. Okay, so let's just go back to the 5 minutes rather. Let's see, 10 minutes. Okay, let's see. Where are we now? Okay, so we've got just, what, 7 minutes left, 8 minutes. Okay, so obviously if we go back to the 1 hour, we'll see that, I mean, that target up there, I'm just going to mark it out as per what we saw earlier. It's most probably going to go higher today. And then this will become my breaker. I don't want to put too much noise on here, but yeah, let's just mark it green actually. And we call it a breaker. It's a positive breaker. And I'll take you guys through it. Now, it's not a valid breaker yet, guys. And actually, let's take it off. We're going to put a line there now. So obviously, we're all aware I need price to close above this black candles open in order for me to be bullish, which is a high probability for the next candle to move higher. So, or it could come back, or there's a bunch of scenarios here, but we've got a few minutes left. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take that off. And the minute we close above here, this black candle here will become the breaker. And before I go there, let me explain quickly why I say that. Got this consolidation here. We've got this big fair value gap here. It's a 4 hourly fair value gap, and that suggests price to go higher, bullish. We have to really close below this before we can look at any shorts. And anything you want to short here is going to be high risk trades. And we can see this consolidation. Then we ran up, taking these highs out, but also a bigger high. And then we saw this big drop of shorts coming in, taking all these lows out, but stop right below, above this, fair value gap. And if we now push through this candle here becomes your breaker. And I don't know if it's going to be both these candles, but yeah, let's take both of them. Normally it's a 3 candle formation, but there's enough meat around this candle to say this these two together will be your breaker. So anything where price breaks through, come back and test this, you can look for buys. And where would we target? Ultimate highs, and it can either go just short of it to create equal highs for the future, or it can run right through it. And I do think we might not run right through it, and this is the reason why. We've got on the 4 hourly, we've got a nice fair value gap here. There's equal lows that we ran before. There's new equal lows here within a fair value gap. So, and this is a sideways move. So we could see price go up there because then you're on top of the range, and work our way back down here again. And that's normally, you know, this type of trading you get in an NFP week. And also, it's 4th of July tomorrow, so there's a holiday that would stop trading. So they're either going to have big moves today or some silly moves today. And then when we come back Friday, we potentially see some violent moves. Alright, so that's the 4-hour view. Now you all know. And let's go back. We've got like 4 minutes left for this candle to close. I think we all in the same camp. Okay, so we're starting to break through it. And I'm just going to call this a breaker for now. Right, let's see. Let's give it some time. Let's see how many points talking. It's about almost 100 points if we can get that move. And I'm not saying we should take the trade, so it's a tricky week. On your demo account, just try some real entries that you think you would have taken. And again, this is just for you to you know, to journal, to try to learn, and not to go in crazy. Two minutes left. See all this liquidity building up here. This next candle could bounce or shoot right into this, taking all these stops out. So let's see what happens in the next. I'm not taking this trade, I'm just checking something. 2 to 1 is about here. If you were going to go through against the rules, see that big push up, and then so there's a big gap, and that big gap validated that breaker, and with that big spike we can expect price to go back there because there's liquidity. Took all the longs, taking all the shorts out, and we would like to see price holding this fair value gap to go higher. Nice nice to go down to this level here. Which is going to be this level down here. Just give it some time. Some liquidity lows here. So it won't surprise me if we can jump, boom, in there. And then reverse to go higher. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying, I mean, if this thing breaks right through it, then we could go down to test this 50% of this bigger fair value gap. I'm just going to go to an hourly to show you guys what it looks like over there. So as you can see, we close way above. So now this is a breaker, and you're in a breaker territory. Keep an eye on these liquidities over here. Nice equal lows. Down here, it's in a breaker area. This blue line is our breaker zone on a 1 hour. So we're in the entry zone, but there's some nice liquidity down here. It would be nice to see it go right in there. And that's where a buy would be good to then target the highs. And I'm actually going to try this. I just want to see where the bottom part of this breaker is. The bottom part is by that lows. Okay. This could be a scenario, so we knew this was going to happen, to spike everybody in, take their stops, for people to think we're going short, consolidate in an OTE. If you take that swing to that swing, a nice OTE, so people to go short for aggressive move. It might pin here to reverse or create some sort of fair value gap where it inverts, where you can take a nice entry and then target these highs and even higher. And we would obviously only look at that if it presents. I mean, there's no reason for us to do anything now. I mean, this is what your OTE traders would look like or look for. I would say, alright, we right in here, it went up, manipulate, it's shifted, it's back into a premium to sell, to target here, to target here. Now we might come down here, but just miss this, or we can run right into this little order block and reject. So let's see, now we've taken those equal highs. We could now drop to validate the OTE for for sellers, or I can be wrong and we can just run to the moon. I know this is a 1 minute chart, and I'm using this because I've already done the work on the higher time frames, framing my trade. And now it's just a matter of, finding that the absolute smallest entry to give you the best risk reward if you're right, obviously. If we close below this white candle's low without taking that high out, then I'm sure we're going to come all the way down here. And then it would be nice to see the inverse of this. Black, black, white with a fair value gap. That will give you a low risk entry to go higher. Or if you want to be aggressive, you just wait for price to go below this equal lows at this 50% and try to buy down here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking a short here if you get this pullback. I'll show you why. It's against everything, but that's going to give you your 2 to 1. If it pulls back and tests that, that will give you a nice 2 to 1 targeting those liquidity. And if you didn't get it there and you entered here, that's still over 1 to 1. But in this case, if you really want to be aggressive, you wait for price to go back there. Let's see if it does that. If it doesn't, that's also fine because we didn't take the trade. And there's the pullback. And so you took it at the bottom of that wick. It's still a 2 to 1, but I'm not going to say that's perfect because I didn't take the trade and it didn't go to the body. So that's normally what you would look for on these patterns. In this case, if you really want to be aggressive, I'm not taking this, but you could have taken it because there's a narrative here that price want to go. Yeah, you just don't know if the market wants to keep this for later stage and just trick people like us, trading liquidity. But let's see what happens. Okay, so there's no gap there. So, I mean, I've also seen this, get this, and then price goes sideways. But let's see, I wouldn't touch this. until I get some entry down here. Okay, so this is what I see forming right now. Could be wrong, but let's see. Trend line. This is what normally sets up for your retailers. Like this trend line that formed up here. Lower, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and then boom, take them all out. Now we can see higher lows. Now we can see lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and now that's a nice solid trend line. Our job now is to wait and see how we get some sort of reversal to take all that liquidity out. And guys, you don't have to, wait to go all the way up here. You just need this to there. That on its own, it's going to be enough to make you profitable. Let's see, if say you just enter somewhere in the blue up here and you run it to this high. I mean, that's already 4 to 1. I mean, I tell you, on a high probability trade, you take 4 to 1s more than 50% of the time. You'll be so profitable. It will be, I mean, you can live a good life doing that. And you can build an account, a small account to a big account quite quickly with that as well. Remember, you only have to double your money in a year if you do 6% compounding for 12 months or 12 times. Now, if you got a 4 to 1 and you risk 1%, that's one trade gives you 4%. You do two of those trades, or just 3 of the 2 to 1s, you got your 6% and you can double your money. And if you do it once a week, you only need 12 weeks, which is 3 months, to double your money. Then it's simple to, to make a lot of money in 12 months. So just keep that in mind. There's no need to rush into anything. If you can get a 2 to 1 3 times a week, I mean, there's more than enough time for you to sit on your hands, not to do anything. Don't rush anything. This week is not a week to trade anyways. So because of NFP and all of that. So yeah, just relax and try to read price like we do right now. We marked out an area of interest in a bullish move. That's what we're expecting to get to. And as you can see, we're consolidating. People who took this as a shift candle with a OTE short is now getting stressed because we're going up, getting close to stop loss, and then we drop, and then we consolidate below it, then we drop, and now we go back up there. This is where people start, I don't know, throwing laptops out of the window because the market's not moving in their direction. Let's see how it plays out. Remember, we were in this breaker area where you could have bought, and this is, I mean, be nice to get it down here, but I mean, there's no entry for me here. And I'm definitely not buying here if there's equal lows right here with a fair value gap. That's normally a very good area for liquidity. If it doesn't go there, that's fine. And then I'll journal it and I'll learn from it. So here we can see liquidity is gone. Not the top yet. Look, we can now do something and drop and just form another range. So let's just see. My trading time normally stops at 11. It starts at 9:30, and that's where I normally hunt opportunities. See this pullback. That was the entry. That was a nice entry actually. But left us equal lows. I mean, looking at that candle now, you'd say, geez, it was such a nice pullback, Neil. Why did you not buy down here? Yeah, I needed some good reason to buy down here. And the reason is still staring me in the face. And unfortunately, I can't. I mean, I could have, but I can't. If you really think about it, that 1 hourly black candle, this is the order block here. So price should have come all the way below this 50% mark. And that was to run these equal lows. Never done that. So now we've got to wait. This thing could easily go and just pop this high and then come down, and PM today run this to go higher, or comes back into the range and just consolidate. Oops. And then anything that came down, I mean, it didn't give me any reason here. So yeah, everybody's stressing. It stops us right here. I'm like, jeepers, how deeper does this thing want to go? I mean, there's some equal lows here as well. See, there's liquidity building up here. Look, if this thing goes and run all the way up to our targets, it's a very good chance that it might reverse there and come all the way back and take all of these. Then we basically missed out on this, which I guess is fine. I mean, there's nothing you can do. That's trading, right? I mean, yeah, you got another fair value gap holding price. And we'll have to see what this fair value gap, if this is actually gonna invert. If it inverts, there's lows, and then we could get there. But if it stays within it or above it, I guess we unfortunately gonna just go higher. I think the frustrating part for people trading is when they see these things, they go and they know there's a target higher. They rush into trades and then they get stopped out but still get the direction right. And I mean, that's probably every other trader's failure as well as, you know, FOMO, fear of missing out. And that's what everybody's, you know, should be working on to actually know when to sit on your hands. I mean, it's easy to say, let's sit on your hands. I mean, but there's liquidity right here in the right context, in a breaker, in a fair value gap. If it gives you an entry there, I mean, surely you would be tempted to take the trade. So doing this, you know, all this chart time so many times, I mean, I'm confident if price would go down there and give me the opportunity that I would buy it even on a day like, you know, a day before the holiday and a day 2 days before NFP. Because there's a narrative here and there's context to the trade and it's not a random trade. If it was a random trade, I would have shorted here already and then I would have got stopped out. If it was a random trade, I would have, fear of missing out, maybe just buy. Yeah, I could be right, but this thing could drop now and stop everybody out. I don't know. Okay, well, let's see what it does at this fair value gap. And that fair value gap lines up with that blue line. Remember, that blue line is the top end of the breaker. So this could be an entry on its own. But again, I'm not taking any trades. Not yet. Let's see. And this is where your OTE traders are starting to lose their minds. Because remember, their stops is right up here. We got very close. For us to get down to this equal lows, we want to see price close below this fair value gap to make it an inverted fair value gap. Otherwise, and that's not something you would trade. This is just telling that price would come down here. And I wouldn't trade it. Some people would. I think it's a high risk trade because we're bullish. We're in a breaker to go higher. There's a target higher. And I mean, we've took out this liquidity. We printed equal lows. Now it's just a matter of waiting. And if you came with the mindset here not to take a trade, then it's good because then you learn. And you saw earlier I took a bunch of screenshots, and that's what I'm seeing, and that's how I journal this stuff. And because as much as it's useful to back test, I like to forward test as well, because sometimes if you look at stuff hindsight, it plays out perfectly, but if you sit in front of the chart, you don't see it till it's done. Then you look back and it's like, that's what it was. But if you can predict while price is printing, like now, price is holding there, will it go and invert? Okay, then we most likely going to come here. Then I'm expecting some sort of buy pattern that I trade to give me an opportunity to buy. I would put my stop below that. If it runs lower, okay, well then I was wrong. If it supports that, and it should, then I know we're building up liquidity up here for price to go higher. But then if price never intends to get here today and wants to set new equal highs, there's a much higher price higher for you to capitalize on. But then also keeping in mind what's happening tomorrow with the holiday and NFP on Friday. I think the big thing is people just sit in front of charts and look for opportunities. The thing is, you got to manage your expectation to say, all right, this is probably not going to be a good day to trade. So I'm not sitting to take a trade. I'm sitting to see what I can learn. And that's what I'm doing, and that's how I condition myself. And hopefully that makes me a better trader in the future. All right, let's see what it does here. Okay, so now it was holding that 50%, and let's see if it's going to aggressively run these equal lows, then pause, and then run equal lows, and then drop all the way down to these ones. If you want to wait for some, I'm not saying take a trade, I'm just saying if you had to take this trade and you see a pullback in there, there's your 2 to 1, but you got to wait for the pullback to enter this. All this thing is just going to boom, spike through it, And if it takes that out before it pulls back, even in the right direction, you're not touching it because it's already taken a low out and it could completely reverse. If it goes back up there, that would be a nice entry to give you your 2 to 1. And okay, there you go. So you can't take that trade anymore. And here we go for our equal lows and see what it gives us here. I've seen this before where it takes this little equal lows and just run to the moon, and you're like, oh, I thought we are going to go down here. And that's just the way it is. Now we inverted this, so this is IFEG. I'm going to take this off and I'll show you guys why I'm taking this off. We're forming a new fair value gap here. We could fill it and then drop, create a new fair value gap down here, and if we then invert with a pattern and all of that, then that's obviously a high probability for price to go higher, and that would be the expectation. Yeah. This is where people say we need to buy, we need to buy. We could run that because that's liquidity, and there's liquidity. So for you to buy anything, yeah, you gotta invert this fair value gap. If you close above it, by all means, but for as long as you stay below it, like now, people put their stops here. Some people will enter here at 50%, consequent encouragement, but there's liquidity here, guys. That's what I'm focused on. I might lose an entry here because of this. I've taken these trades too many times where it closes and then boom, gets stopped out here. So, and remember, this is not a pattern I'm looking for. This hammer or pin or whatever you want to call it should have been a black candle. And if this candle closed above that, inverting this, yeah, then I would take it to these highs. But at this point, I think we're going to run here and into this. Or not. So we'll have to see. I'm not predicting anything, I'm just saying what I'm seeing. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here we can see price actually went and run that little high into that 50%. See how price, or this fair value gap, is holding price. So we really have to go and close above it aggressively for it to be something to consider. But at this point, we're expecting price to be held here. I'll be surprised if price just runs up. I mean, I want to see what's happening down here. This is normally where people get confused, where there's a pin and we got here and why is it not running higher? Because you run liquidity, but people forget about these other things. These are normally your big Normally when I put this little magnet here, it doesn't work out. So let's see if I'm okay today. Anybody who's trading fair value gaps and inverted fair value gaps, that big push up there for those people who like to enter early, just getting sucked out. Okay, there's an inverted fair value gap. But that's not something I would trade. Remember, it's trap days. We can see this thing invert both sides, and then then you're also gonna question yourself. All this thing can now just run to the moon. See, now price is just stuck in that area, and if you don't have nerves of steel and you're in a trade and it's against you or it's going your, I mean, this is where psychology is really messing with your mind. So if you've got a bias and you've got an entry and you've got everything, you got to stick to your guns. I've not taken a trade because it's not where I want to enter. My entry is still down here at these, this little magnet. And regardless of what's happening there, I'm not, suffering from FOMO to just jump into trades, because I promise you, if I do that, I will get stopped out. I will go into drawdown, and I am going to be angry with myself. And it just forces me to lose focus, especially if you've got an account that you're trading to take money out. It's not worth the risk. And you got to try to condition yourself to take the absolute trade and wait for that absolute opportunity. If it doesn't come today, like I said earlier, at 2 to 1, 3 trades a week, 3 trades a month gives you 6%. 6% a month over 12 months compounding, double your money. So there's no rush that you need to make all that money by end of this week. And if that's your expectation, then obviously trading is not going to be for you. Because if trading was that easy and simple and making money overnight, good, then everybody would do it and everybody would live a glorious life. So let's see if it's gonna. Okay, so my cutoff is at 11, which is gonna be boom, boom, right there. So we still got time. I mean, this thing could still run in here and then run higher. Now that we sat through all of this, if you really look at this, right, prices come up and consolidate it. There's the top range, there's the bottom range. Where not the top range, I think the bottom range, because that's the most obvious liquidity. Let's go back to a 1 hour quick. We are in this area, all this order block, whatever you want to call it. And that's where all the consolidation is happening, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, to push it higher. That's just what I think. And that's just what makes sense to me. This thing can drop and run this low and these lows in here, and then do it. Then we could say, oh Neil, this was the breakers, this one, down here and then higher. I just think it's unlikely, and that's just experience talking here. So okay, maybe this is us just consolidating right to the PM, or maybe this thing's just running to the moon to create nice equal highs for future and reverse that PM and come down and consolidate into tomorrow's holiday, and then, you know, setting up some violent move for Friday. Still nothing. I'm just gonna wait it out. Slowly grounding away. So I'm not going to say that IFEG was a great entry, because that's not an entry I would have taken. Let's see. I'm just going to go to 5 minutes and see if we can see something. Nice entry into the breaker, taking lows. Didn't get to our. There's the target up there. This is a nice up, taking liquidity, spike people out, run up the page. If these two candles, obviously the black candles running that liquidity, if this white candle closed above here, that would have been a nice entry, targeting these highs. But again, this down here is the problem. And even if you've taken it, I don't think it would have given you your 2 to 1, but it's running up the page now anyways. So what I think I'm going to do, I don't know if this is actually, because it came at, I actually want to see something quick. Boom, 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 boom. 955. Big drop there, okay, so don't worry about that. I just wanted to see if there was any opening gaps that needed to be filled. I just want to look at the hourly again. Oh, amazing. I think what's going to happen is we're just going to carry on higher and most likely go to this target and then make it way down, and I'll show you what I mean by that. We see this black candles going down, taking out liquidity, and then this big white candles going all the way up. If that comes and drop shift, this becomes your bearish breaker. This thing can just continue higher. I'm just trying to preempt something because I'm expecting price to go low at some point. But we are bullish, like we said. It's just a pity that we didn't get our entry. But I guess that's how it is, and that's how it goes. And I'm not sad about it. It would just be nice. And then I think this is actually only going to come and do its thing around, you know, maybe only on Friday around all these liquidities, or maybe, I mean, I don't know if it will happen tonight or this afternoon in the PM session, or what it will do. We're just going to wait for the market to do something. And we still got time. But I don't know if we'll get an entry here. Where people will move their stops. And then this thing will go higher and higher and higher. And then when it's up here, people's like, no, this thing is just going to the moon. Close, take a loss, big drawdown, and then it reverses. Boom. And then they're like, oh, I could have been right. I could have made money because we're going to take out all the way down where we targeted. And now it's very nice to use your charts, knowing that we want to go up there, looking for price holding in fair value gaps. Like this is consolidation. It would have been nice if it was a black candle and this is a black candle, now a white candle. Then there's opportunity to take a little long and scalp it all the way up. Yeah, not so much, not so much. I don't like these fair value gaps. If it goes there, okay. But this, if it takes out this low and it goes black and the next one's white, you could look at, like now you're taking out at lows. If it closes within that fair value gap, then price is holding it, or we get an inversion and we might go lower to where we think. You got 15 seconds to tell us. Okay. If it closes above here, but it didn't, see, that's the thing. Okay. Rebalance. Inverted. Okay, well, can take this one off because it's not doing its purpose or anything right now. Okay, so now we run in there, holding price. Let's see. Close above here. We might see some pricing run in this bigger fair value gap. Rejects, bomb. I don't know if we want to go down here now because there's a low to that high. I mean, there's the entry box. So, don't know. If it breaks below this, yes, then we might see price going lower. But now it's stuck between two fair value gaps, or IFEG and a fair value gap. So then we get this nice pattern of ours, and then if we close below it, yeah, then we might see a push lower. Okay, we're not closing there, so we're probably going to go higher. Nothing tells us to go down there. Just want to log out, go into a paper trade account, and I want to show you guys. So I'm going to buy one there. Let's see where it, and let's see if it's a micro, so it's not much. Okay, your stop there, it's a 36 stop, so it's not a lot of. And then we're saying take profit up here. Actually, I'm going to have to spice it up because I wanted to take a mini, because that's what I try to see. This is a micro account, so I'm just gonna buy, actually it should be 10 at market, and then we'll take it there. And that is just targeting that $1,000 mark. So it all depends now. I mean, this thing can just go sideways here the whole day, but I think we might just be going there now. Alright, so this fair value gap was holding price, and a little fair value gap that got broken. We've entered there, we target up here, and now it's just a matter of you know, holding and waiting. If it comes and stop me out, then so be it. It's a paper trade account, guys, so I can't lose money. That's a good thing about the paper trade account on these days, that you shouldn't be trading and you want to trade to just do it instead of just watching. Then I guess a paper trade is the way to go. Okay, target is up here. Let's mark it out. Now I could move my stop to here. We ran liquidity, we formed a swing low, and we haven't broken this high yet. If we close above here, I'll move my stop up to reduce my risk, and then depends on what I mean, there's a little bit of a fair value gap there. I can't put it to break even yet, so fair value gap is where price should be holding, and this swing point here, we don't want to see price go lower than that. And if it does, then obviously we can collapse the trade, because then obviously we're not doing it right. Well, we're not in the right, but because we in the right I mean, in the right context, I think, I mean, there's liquidity lower, we could see a drop down, but if we don't want to go there now, I mean, these would be good setups to take price higher. I wonder, actually just gonna do that, and the reason I do that is I suspecting price will go up, and people think, yes, we're going to take it out and just stop short of it and then reverse. Okay, now we want to see price close above that down candle. If it does, you can add, well, I would then add to my paper trade account another mini, which is 10, so I'll add another 9, so it's 20. Let's see if it's going to allow me. And that's just the pattern there. It's in a OTE, and that would give us context to go, you know, to actually buy, to go higher. But we have to wait for the candle to close. And even if you don't take a trade, that will give you confirmation that you're moving in the right direction. That's the new low, and that's where you can move your stops to. If that's going to play out, let's see. Yep. Okay. Now I've got like 2 minis on. That's where the stop should go to. So we can take this off. We shouldn't see price go down here. So we can go like this, modify it, and there we go. Now we want to see something to push this. We're in a macro we can either see a big drop now, or we can see some energy behind price going higher. Or we can get stopped out. There we go, we're out. Luckily, that was just a paper trade. And see, that's why you're not holding. That's why you're moving it up. Because what if that would just make you lose way more money? And this sometimes not taking out this low could stop, give us a new entry here to then take it up higher. Alright, so I'm going to end the stream right here. I'll see you guys in the next live stream. This is past my trading time, so now I'm just going to let it do its thing, and I'll come back at about 1 o'clock and see if there was any opportunity where it reached the target that we need to take a short or anything, to that. I'll give it 1 more minute and see if this is going to give me that entry to hold all the way to the top. If it doesn't, then it's fine. I'll just end the stream and I'll check in a bit later on the trade. So if this is going to be the trade, I need it to close above this candle's open. If it doesn't, then so be it. No harm, no foul, and no tears. Okay, let's see. Let us see. No trade. There's no opportunity for me there. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys learn something. And let me just see. Yeah, I'll chat to you guys in the next live stream. Take care, have a good one, and stay safe. Bye bye.